Hey guys, I'm just popping on right now to talk a little bit about alchemy and then to give you a very short and sweet alchemical meditation. Okay? So, some of you may remember from school the story of people trying to figure out how to turn lead into gold, right? Something less valuable into something more valuable. And the idea is that it is a chemical process called alchemy, and that there was, a search for the alchemical process that would change lead into gold. And I'm very brief overview, not going deep here, okay? It's a quickie. So, originally, alchemists were thought of people who are trying to turn less valuable things into more valuable things, right? Alchemist also has an esoteric connotation or definition, and alchemists can also be often thought of people who are like in the magical realm, or people who are doing not casting spells, but who are transmuting things, right? And the point that I want to make here is it doesn't matter where you are or what it is that you believe about alchemy or alchemists. I'm personally really identifying more, not that it matters because the identity is a construct anyway, but I'm thinking of myself more as an alchemist these days than anything else. And the reason for that is that I want to view myself, I want to be someone who takes in, and part of this is the work that I do, right? Who takes in pain, other people's, or maybe my own, but who breathes in the difficult, challenging stuff, the fear, the anger, the frustration, the pain, whatever it is, who breathes that into me, right? And then I transform that and breathe it back out as compassion, love, joy, whatever, right? And I can imagine doing that with like one person, like when I'm with a client, say, or I can imagine, or a loved one who's maybe having a tough time. I can imagine doing that for myself. I can imagine doing that for the world. I can imagine doing that for a particular area of the world that I feel like needs a little bit more love, compassion, joy, what have you, right? That this idea that we are transmuting something that is less valuable, right, into something good. So something challenging into something helpful or good, right? Just on a very basic level. And this is just something that you're imagining, right? And to me, it feels good to feel like I'm doing that. And I mean, honestly, I have no idea if it's making any difference or not, but it feels good. It is a form of meditation. It is a form of focus. And really, when you get down to it, meditation is really just focusing on something, either focusing on not focusing on your thoughts, or focusing on a candle, or focusing on, a space up in your head, or focusing on a meditation that someone is speaking, a guided meditation, but it's about focus. It's really about focus in the end, right? So it really doesn't matter that much what you're focusing on, but I do want to make this idea that I believe that we are all alchemists. That's part of the theme of The Reluctant Alchemist, the book that I wrote, and will continue in the next book that I'm working on right now. But I believe that we are all alchemists, that we all have the ability to transmute challenging things into less challenging, or maybe even hopeful or beautiful things, right? And you can see this in your everyday life. Like you can see that maybe the person in front of you at, in the grocery store line was, sort of rude to the person who was checking them out. And you can see maybe that the checkout person is frustrated and they're having a tough day. Maybe the person in front of you was also having a tough day, and that's why they maybe weren't being so kind or their best self, toward the cashier, whatever it may be. You're standing back there. What can you do about that, right? We could stand there and get judgy, about the person who's not being nice to the cashier. We could think lots of different things, but we could also think, okay, I'm just going to breathe in whatever frustration or pain these two people are having here, and I'm going to exhale joy and peace and comfort and compassion, and I'm going to wish them the best, and I'm going to breathe in whatever their challenges are, and I'm going to breathe out, whatever would be helpful to them. Even in the interaction of, hey, wow, that wasn't so much fun, I don't think, hope you have a better day, or I hope your day improves, or whatever. Even in that, you are on some level alchemically attempting to change the energy, right? You're attempting to lift the energy of the person who doesn't seem to be doing so well right now, right? So if you think about it, it's really not all that foreign. But anyway, before I go on and on, I'm going to give you the meditation that I've been doing. So I'm usually sitting down. I don't have to be. I just find that I'm more attentive when I'm sitting than when I'm lying down. I'm more likely to just take a nap or go to sleep or whatever. So anyway, I'm usually sitting. And what I want you to imagine is what I'm doing is I'm combining something called Tonglen, the Tonglen practice, which is a Buddhist practice of breathing in challenging things and emotions and feelings and bad stuff, and breathing out good stuff, right, to others. So, and transforming that within ourselves, within our breath, and offering that back out, right? Okay, so, but I'm combining the Tonglen practice with something called torroidal breathing. And you can look up torroidal breathing if you want to. There's lots of stuff on YouTube. But what I want you to imagine is an apple, okay? And if you imagine yourself as the seeds in the core of the apple, right? And if you imagine that the apple is not, like the core is gone, as if you've cored the apple and taken the seeds out, but now you can imagine that the seeds are back where they were, right? So the seeds are sitting where the seeds would normally sit, in the middle of the empty core of the apple, okay? And what I invite you to imagine is that every time you breathe in, right, the way the torus works in physics is that you pull everything in toward the core, and you pull it comes from this way, but it also comes from beneath. So as you're breathing in, right, stuff from below and stuff from above, okay? And you're bringing it into that vortex, into that center core, right? You're bringing it in from above and below. And then when you exhale, it's going in the opposite direction. It's coming back out. So when you exhale, all those little arrows start to go out from the top and down, and then from the bottom and back up. And so you have this, it's almost like a little washing machine, right? But if you imagine it's happening in 3D or maybe even 5D, I'm not sure. So imagine you're in the center of a cored apple, and you're pulling energy in from above and below, pulling in your breath from above and below your head and your rear end. And then when you exhale, it's coming back out, right? I even like to do this with trees, because trees are a toroidal force. If you think about a tree, the trunk is that vortex. Their roots are in the ground. Their leaves are arching out. And so you're breathing with the tree in and then out, right? And we are alchemists for trees, because they give oxygen to us. So we breathe their oxygen in. We breathe carbon dioxide out to them, which is what they need. So they're a really good way to think about this too. But then I imagine, so I get my little toroidal breathing going, and then I think of someone who's having a challenge, or I think of a place or a group of people or whatever it may be that I feel like need a little bit of love and a little bit of extra something. And so then I will imagine breathing in whatever their pain or concern is, and exhaling compassion and joy and peace or love to them. And it's really that simple. And I usually imagine sort of like some kind of a connection from my heart, but you don't have to. You can just imagine them, and you can put them in the torus with you, or they can stay outside of it, and you're generating, you're alchemizing whatever the difficult, challenging parts are, and you are breathing out the beautiful things. It's that simple. So good luck. Give it a shot. See what you think. Try being an alchemist and see where that goes. So, bye.